What's up, everyone? Dem Boys back at it, man. Hope y'all had a good Christmas. Hope y'all about to have a great New Year. Don't do anything stupid. Remember, it's amateur hour on the roads. Be careful. Um, so, I have been grinding out in the lab, going through some different playbooks, trying to find some excellent formations that are a little more geared around the run for a run heavier approach. Kind of like the last really, stuff I gave you out of the Pats playbook. This is just going to kind of expand across Madden, partially because I think it's fun to change up playbooks every once in a while. It keeps the game from getting stale. Obviously, not everybody runs Pats, and I want to reach as many viewers as possible and help as many people as possible. And my New Year's goal is to hit 1,000 viewers so I can start making AdSense money. So hit that subscribe. So first we're going to start with QB Blast. We're going to run a whole mini scheme into one video. So yeah, it's be a little bit of a longer one, but worth it. So QB Blast, the things you need to know to run QB Blast. If I want to run QB Blast to the right, what I'm typically going to do is I'm going to go ahead and ID the outside linebacker to the right. Now, it is kind of a specific way I go about running this. First, I'm going to get on the center and I'm going to hold up on the D-pad, and that's just to ensure the center shoots straight forward and gets a good block. Hopefully, he'll kind of create a little bit of space potentially. When I start running this, though, I actually hold right bumper, and I use the right bumper, so that's a conservative run, the same way that we would use the precision modifier to slow down, to time the blocking, but it's a safe way to do that where I don't have to worry as much about fumbling. Okay, so salary cap, this probably works pretty good if you got people who don't have good hit power on their defenses, regs. Once you start playing weekend league and stuff, you do have to be more mindful of the fumbles. Not to say you can't stomp people out with this whole scheme I'm about to show you. You can. Fumbles or not. So, again, we want to run to the right. I get on the center, I press forward, I've ID'd the outside linebacker to the right. Now, one thing I will tell you is most of my fumbles occurred when trying to get wide, and you don't even have to get hit that hard. So be aware of that. If you are going to cut out wide, that's like a no risk it, no biscuit thing, because that's where you are more likely to fumble. For whatever reason. I don't know. If I want to run to the left, I'll typically go ahead and ID the left corner. And I'll actually get on the right guard, and I'm going to hold left on the directional pad at the snap. And just watch what Yonda's going to do in my whole line when I do that. Everyone kind of runs to the left. So that's how you're going to get your line to go one way or the other. If I'm trying to run up the middle, I will typically just go ahead and ID this middle linebacker, get on the center, and again, I'm just pressing up. So, boop. And see, like I said, you can still fumble. It will still happen. So that's typically how I'll try to run up the middle. If depending on what they're doing, I may as well ID this guy and just try to kind of get in the middle over there, like so, and shoot through. So that you can kind of play with, can depend on alignments and the person you're playing's tendencies. So just ID one of the two middle linebackers if you're trying to kind of take it in between the tackles. So that's really what you need to know. And then really I'm going to hold conservative until I get through the traffic. And once I get through the traffic, then I'll burst, right? So that is definitely very important to note. Until I get through the traffic, I'm holding this bumper down. You break free, you go. Not until then, because it just ain't worth it, right? It ain't worth the extra half a yard you'll get trying to turbo forward into someone and then you drop the ball. So, that's everything you need to know to run that the most effective way you can run it, right? And the safest way that you can run with your quarterback. Now, I will say this. At some point, y'all know they are going to come out with like some OPP. I'm assuming I thought the Walter Payton card was going to be a quarterback when I first heard about it. So stuff like that, consider. that you can play, you know, really run this scheme once those cards become available. I'm sure they will. So, next thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you a pass play. Now, how I have, and this is the pass play, really, TE spot. So what I've done is I've put corner, post, elite on the tight end on the right-hand side. And I have out, flag, and in as far as their elite route run stuff. And then matchup nightmare on both. So that's how I'm actually coming up both of my tight ends with abilities when I do this. So note that is really the most effective way, because you're going to be running with your quarterback a lot anyways. You don't need it on the running back. I'll put fast break on my quarterback as well. So we go to spot. Now the first of many setups, guys, we've got a while, is going to be just block B, and there you go. What you'll find is that this is a great man beater, so Collins is going to get smoked. McCoy will come down under it. So really both A and Y are man beaters. Y is maybe a little bit better man beater, because you can see by the animation it's a little sharper cut. Boom, easy money. If they're real worried about the run, this play is so tough. You get someone in man coverage, it's a wrap, right? And really all it is since we're blocking B, is it's the same thing that we've done really with our other offense. Whatever way the user goes, look the other way, hit the high-low read. Not real complex, right, guys? Not really. So another setup, you can just go ahead and slide B over. And then I'll block RB. And A becomes a wild card, guys. You can put A on a go, just in case if he's blitzing those linebackers. You might hit him up the seam. You can put him, you know, come back, out. Whatever. You just don't want it to interfere with these other routes over here, really. So we kind of look. I could hit B there. You can just kind of see where that can space things out. That is a setup I would typically run more so against a zone. Because really, guys, if you start to think about, you know, how is that going to stress a zone? Well, so I'm going to block RB again, motion him over. You really don't have enough guys to cover all three of those things there. So what are you going to do? You're going to cover B, Y, you know, A. So you guys kind of see how things come open pretty quick there. So again, that's just kind of a good way to flood one side of the field with that particular setup. And guys, don't be afraid to go ahead and hit that rewind. Watch this video a few times, because again, lots of setups here. Lots of setups. Another setup is I'll go ahead and slide Boyle over. And I'll typically then go ahead, take Y and smart route him if I got 10 yards to go, just so he goes up a little bit further so they don't bump into each other. Not that they usually will, but just in case. I'm going to block RB. I'm going to put B on a go. That go with B is pretty similar. Again, this is very similar to some of the stuff we've done. A is going to come across the field and get open, right? Because B is going to pull coverage over the top. And then we've got a high-low on the other side between X and Y. So hit Y, you've got A. You know, obviously good against man, good against zone, because you're going to find that hole really underneath the third quarter or half, depending if it's cover 3, 2, 4, it doesn't really matter. You're going to get behind that. So note that. Another setup for this when you do this motion is I'll take B. Now, since B goes on a standalone, he can now be put on a slant. Normally, slants are not an option with this formation. You have to figure out kind of a creative way to get it to work, which I've done. I'm going to block RB. I'm going to take Y, and he's going to have in specialist. So instead of a drag, we'd put him on a little in. And what's this look real familiar to? Looks a lot like our money play, right? Will work similarly to the money play. And I'll show you guys that against different coverage. So this is going to be against a zone, which is typically, well, doesn't matter. You'd use it against either or. Again, we block the running back. Once the motion is done, then we can take B and put him on a slant. We cannot put Y on a little curl. Or X, excuse me, on a little curl. That's the only reason you don't see that the same way. Otherwise, I'd do the same thing and just have him on a short curl. But we can't, so that's how we're going to create our high-low. Y, we've got B, we've got A coming open the way it usually does, right? And now, again, keep in mind, guys, you're going to have, on your tight ends, that you're going to have abilities, right? So he's going to have post elite, so when he's running that somewhat contested catch that you just saw dropped, it's going to be Velcro, guys. It's going to be real easy with these abilities to stick this stuff in. And even more so once your opponent's real worried about that run. So, always understand that. That is important. Another thing we can go ahead and do for setups, move him out, get him on a slant, move him back in. That is yet another way we can do this. I'm going to take Y and block him. So now this is in essence mesh. Our mesh setup out of trips. That is what we're trying to duplicate here. Which we are able to effectively do. Good against man, good against zone. Show you against zone. We already know against man, you know, you're going to have A as a good man beater. B is going to be probably pretty good against man. So A or B would be your best, you know, bet against man. But in a zone, same thing. We just got a high-low on either side of the field, right? So we got A open here. Bloop. Now, just like mesh, for that setup, we will want to be on this hash. You know, realistically, because otherwise the backside's not going to run the whole way. So, we move him out. Obviously, Gilmore is going to lock him down, right? You got one of the best man defenders in the game against a tight end, but again, we're just in practice mode here. So those would be my setups for this particular play. So we're really starting to put the mini scheme together. That is a lot of it right there. You don't need a whole heck of a lot more than that, guys. That's the meat and potatoes. That's going to be what you primarily run, your bread and butter. Now, if people start to really like pinch inside or bite inside on the quarterback run, you can get around them with the quick base a bit. But the other play I'm going to show you in this formation, anywho, is going to be mesh sit. This would be great if people want to play like pinch dog to press, for example. Just try to stop your run. My setup for this. Now, in a perfect world, guys, just because the way your chems are set up, you'd want to have it over here because this tight end's going to have in. But again, guys, you can always pre-play, go in, and just flip your players, right, around, pre-play. So, move them in within the formation. So we'll take B, put him on a go. We'll take RB and block him. And then that's really it, guys. Again, he'll have in specialist, so we're going to take him and put him on an in instead of a drag. Again, if you have these particular chems. And there you go. So we've created a little kind of a potential bind in the middle. Do they stop and stay with the hitch or follow Y? And then we all know about the corner or flag route with the go, right? I mean, this is something that y'all have seen. Probably done a million different ways. Not a whole real point in getting too far into that because, again, pretty similar concept to what y'all have seen before, I'm sure. Now, another thing you could go ahead and do is pretty much run it as is. Just go ahead and like block your running back. Not a bad play, especially if they're in man. I prefer my setup, but, you know. The next thing to note, if you hit audible and you are in gun heavy Panther, you can hop into goal line. So if you're chopping somebody up with the pass in this and they come out and, you know, they're not prepared for a heavy set, pop yourself into goal line, right? If you take and make a 6th offensive lineman, put him in the tight end spot to the left, 6th offensive lineman in the tight end spot to the left. When you switch to goal line, so just watch the tight end to the left. You end up with a heck of a lead blocker, right? So now you can actually go heavy set, then flip down into this, and now you're running goal line with an extra offensive lineman. So note that. Also, this single back ace wing, I haven't labbed it. I didn't get into it yet, guys. But let me know. If this is something y'all like and enough of y'all are going to be running, let me know, because there are some sick looking little plays in this single back ace wing. You know, that might be nice with the little double move. Might be, it is. Shoot. Especially when people are worried about run. There's stretch play in this formation. There's just a lot of stuff in this formation. TE corners looks like a pretty cool little play. I'm sure I could do a lot with that play art. I mean, even TE cross is kind of an interesting starting point for a play. So definitely let me know, guys, if there's enough of you that are going to get into this and run this scheme. I will go ahead and lab up this formation. And I will lab up a few goal line things for y'all as well. So we can really stick this together, and I'll maybe make this a 3-video mini scheme, 1 mini scheme for each little formation we got